Okay, it's about 10 o'clock in the morning. Today is October 21st, 2021, and this is the SNILD Delegation JGO Committee. We are here this morning to hear the zoning nominee for Ms. Edna Grace Rios Nisola. Before we proceed, I'd like to call this meeting to order. And pursuant to our SNILD JGO rules, for Section 2, it requires only 3 members to establish a quorum. And we also have one more representative coming in, Representative Lepon. So therefore, we do have a quorum this morning. May I hear a motion to adopt the agenda this morning? It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Nays? Motion carried. We proceed now to Section 3 of the agenda this morning for public comments. If anybody has any public comment, you can step up to the microphone. Please state your name. And you have 5 minutes to make a comment regarding the nominee for this morning. And also, if you have any written comments, so please submit it to the Sergeant at Arms. Thank you very much. You may proceed. Anybody from the public to make a comment? Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. Gary Sword, KKMP Radio here. I've been working with Edna for just over a year now at the Governor's Economic Task Force. I've found this young lady to be very responsible and very detailed in all of everything that she does, which is practically everything that comes out of the Governor's Council. Jerry gets all the credit, but she does all the work. And she doesn't mind working long hours. Our meetings are always right on point. The time and also all the equipment that we need is there. And I found her to be a very, very hardworking and responsible person. She is a graduate of Mariano's High School. We always talk of when we make speeches at graduation, we got to look to our future. And this is why I'm here today. I feel that these young people are the future of our community. As such, they should also be given a role to play in building this future for our community. And any young person who steps forward and takes a leading charge for developing our community, such as the zoning board, which has a very difficult task, I found Edna that she doesn't back down. She finds solutions and makes it work. She's grown up here. She is from here. She went off. She got educated. She's coming back to serve our community. And this is one of the, I mean, she could have easily said, no, I'm too busy, I got something else. But she feels this is a good step for her, a challenge for her. And I know that she will do an excellent job for our Saipan community. Appreciate your vote of confidence for her today to make her a member of our zoning board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sword, for your testimony this morning. Any additional comments from the public? Please come up to the microphone, state your name, and also you have 5 minutes, and your written comments can be received at the Sergeant at Arms. Thank you.
Good morning. Okay. Buenos dias, half days, and Tirawami. Good morning, Chairwoman, Senator Edith Guerrero, and all the committee members this morning. I'll read from the letter that I have will submit for her nomination. As the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands proceed to navigate into this new direction, filled with uncertainty of the COVID-19 pandemic era, we are faced with a struggling economy for our islands, our home. Our CNMI is also facing many urgent deadlines that will impact our economic growth of the CNMI as we are still rebuilding and recovering from Super Typhoon U2. These deadlines may lead to unanticipated infrastructure challenges. Therefore, the Commonwealth Zoning Board is a very critical board that will be led with strong leadership, efficient processes, and exercising critical decision-making. With this, it is with great confidence to support Ms. Edna Grace Rios Nisola's nomination to the Commonwealth Zoning Board. I have known Ms. Nisola for the past couple of years as a colleague at TED Holdings. However, it has been through her work with the Governor's Council of Economic Advisors, JGO, where I have seen her grow and develop into this great community leader who only strives to make the CNMI, our home, a better place. She has efficiently led the public-private partnership program from its infancy stages into now more than 60+ partners. She provides great strategic assistance to each leader volunteer group to ensure that they receive all the support and resources needed for their day of community service. Also with JGO, she has demonstrated her intelligence in marketing, finance, and economics, and a strong ability to work well with a diverse audience. Ms. Nisola is a person with great integrity and carries such positive attitude towards people, life, and this community. Being a 2019 college graduate and witnessing her accomplishments thus far, Ms. Nisola is a professional and serves with such a caring heart. She is resourceful in her problem-solving skills and is determined to make this CNMI, our home, a better place. I strongly believe that Ms. Nisola will be a strong asset to the Commonwealth Zoning Board and hope that this committee and the Saipan of Northern Islands Legislative Delegation will approve her nomination. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. You can submit it to the Sergeant at Arms. And before we proceed with the, thank you, Representative Leapon just walked in. Good morning. And let me also introduce the committee members. Representative Tina Sablan is our vice chair for the committee. She's excused this morning from this meeting. We have Representative Vicente Camacho, Representative Benita Yantimay, Representative Vijay Atto, Representative John Paul Sablan, and our newest member, the newly elected Representative Karina Magofnia. Also this morning serving us and working with us will be Legal Counsel Joe Bermudez and our Legislative Assistant, Ms. Claire. Thank you very much. We are still open for public comments. Anybody that have any more to submit for the nominee this morning, you can please go ahead and proceed to the microphone.
Madam Chair, before we, just for the record, that the previous speaker is Ms. Catherine Atto, just for the record.
Thank you for identifying that. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Thank you. Go ahead, proceed, please.
Tiro. My name is Joe Guerrero, and I serve as the president of the Saipan Chamber of Commerce. So that's the hat I'm putting on today. I also serve on the Governor's Council of Economic Advisors, and that's where I've had the privilege to work with Edna Nisola. And in working with her, I find her to be very qualified and a very pleasant person to work with. And that's important in any board, being able to have a level head and kind of look at the issues in front of them. And I believe I support her obviously, and I believe she'll be fair towards the issues that come before the zoning board. But in working with her, I was impressed for one, and then more so impressed when she shared her resume recently, having been a graduate of Marianas High School in 2016, and then 3 years later, getting one of the more difficult bachelor's degrees in finance, economics, and marketing with honors. So she's very well qualified in that regard. So I hope that we all support her nomination and give it due consideration, and especially because she's young. She doesn't act as young as she is. She seems very mature and very well capable. So it's very encouraging to see young folks like herself make herself available to serve an important board such as the Saipan Zoning Board. I have a background in bachelor's degree also in real estate, and so I've always been an enthusiast of the Saipan Zoning Board and its laws, and I do recognize that there are a lot of things that could be improved. So in getting someone like Edna Nisola on board, I look forward, and the Chamber of Commerce looks forward to working with someone like her who maybe has a different perspective and an appreciation of how zoning board policies can have lasting implication on business and more importantly in our entire community. So with that, I am just relaying my full support and ask for your consideration on her nomination to the Saipan Zoning Board. It's a small city.
Thank you so much, Mr. Guerrero, for your comment. Thank you. We are still open for public comments. Please state your name for the record, and you have 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Chairwoman and members of this committee. My name is Geraldine Dela Cruz, and I am the Zoning Administrator for the Commonwealth Zoning Board. First off, I'd like to thank Governor Torres and Lieutenant Governor Palacios in their action of appointing members to the Commonwealth Zoning Board. The Zoning Board consists of a 7-member body whose primary responsibilities are to create policies and decisions that promote the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community, create policies and decisions that protect and conserve the value of buildings and land, and support the most appropriate use of land in the CNMI, Saipan only at this point. This is very important for a small community like ours. The Zoning Board has kept busy over the last year entertaining certain issues within the island of Saipan. Our public hearings are very well attended by the community, which indicates the importance of harmony among neighbors. There's still a lot of work to do, and our board and staff are fully committed in ensuring that we do our part. With the support of SNILD, this is possible. On behalf of this Commonwealth Zoning Board and our office staff, we are here to pledge support for Ms. Edna Nisola to be a member of the board. Along with our existing members, Ms. Nisola will play a crucial role in how the CNMI recovers economically. Again, on behalf of the board, we ask this humble body to confirm Ms. Edna Nisola to the Commonwealth Zoning Board. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are still open for public comments. Please state your name, and you have 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Good morning, everyone. Chairwoman De Leon Guerrero, the honorable members of this committee, Representative Attal, Representative Sablan, our newly elected Precinct 3 Representative, Karina Magofnia, congratulations on your inauguration and your election. We look forward to working with you. Representative Yang Tamay, Representative Lipan Guerrero, Representative Camacho, thank you very much for the opportunity. And to the people present in the gallery, as well as the members streaming live on the YouTube channel for the legislature, thank you. For the record, my name is Kevin Bautista, Press Secretary for the Office of the Governor here at the CNMI. On behalf of Governor Ralph de Leon Guerrero Torres and Lieutenant Governor Arnold Indalecio Palacios, I'm here to introduce the Governor and Lieutenant Governor's nominee for the Commonwealth Zoning Board, Ms. Edna Nisola, representing the island of Saipan. A highly educated and highly accomplished young professional, Ms. Edna Grace Rios Nisola is a highly regarded professional here in the CNMI. Public Relations Officer, former Business Development Officer for Chan Holdings. She is most notably recognized, as you've heard from the testimony earlier, for being the force behind the Governor's Council of Economic Advisors, the CNMI government's premier public-private partnership with over 60 private partners in a community-based collaboration. An unprecedented effort for an unprecedented time as we look to tackle issues of economic development importance. Her youthful energy, diligent work ethic, commitment to collaboration, and responsibility make her a viable candidate to serve on the Commonwealth Zoning Board of Directors. The management of our economy is undoubtedly the most important priority of our Commonwealth, and it requires a comprehensive community approach from the lowest common denominator in our villages to our private sector partners and to our government leaders. Given her experience on the Council of Economic Advisors, her temperament and good judgment, Ms. Nisola will work diligently to uphold the mission of the Zoning Board so that we can help diversify our economy and create more opportunities for our people through the creation of jobs and economic development on all 3 senatorial districts, particularly within the Saipan and Northern Islands District. Having worked with Ms. Nisola and as a fellow young person myself, I know undoubtedly she will be a valuable asset on this important board within the CNMI government. Governor Torres and Lieutenant Governor Palacios placed their full trust and confidence in Ms. Nisola as a member of the Commonwealth Zoning Board. I know she stands ready to answer your questions and present her plans for the future. And we ask for your expeditious approval, and we thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and honorable members for the opportunity to speak before this August body. Thank you. Sus Masi, Siglos.
Thank you, Mr. Bautista, for your comments this morning. Anybody else that would like to submit a comment for the nominee? Thank you. Please state your name and you have 5 minutes.
Morning. Good morning, Chairwoman and all the members of this body. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to all of you this morning. And I already submitted my written comment. I just want to add I don't know what else to add to what some of the previous speakers have talked about Edna, other than the fact that she works at Chan Holdings. And because of my work at the Economic Council since last year, I actually get to work with her almost on a daily basis. And I've been hoping to see young people stepping up in the Commonwealth. In fact, this morning I came from the Pacific Century Fellow program, which they're going around today, and I joined their morning session before I came here. So it's very, very important that we see our young people willing to step up. And in the case of Edna, although she worked for us for even before the Economic Council, I only had the opportunity to work with her when she was recommended to me to join the council to help in organizing a lot of work. So I only get to know her actually last year. And am I surprised? First, I'm very happy that she graduated from Marianas High School, went to Arizona, get a degree, and decided to come back. As you know, young people nowadays in the States, they have a lot of options, and many of them chose not to come back. And that's really something that meant a lot to me, because she wanted to come back and she wants to actually live and work here. And to be honest, I'm thankful to Governor and Lieutenant Governor's, decision to nominate her. But I'm more surprised. I'm actually surprised that she accepted this nomination at this young age. I think Edna, if I'm not wrong, she's only 23. But trust me, with the way she works, she's more like 35. And so I'm very impressed with Edna. So I run away from Pacific Century Fellow because I want to be here to also extend my full support, because I know she will do very well as a board member of a very, very important board called zoning. We talk about economic recovery, I think Jerry De La Cruz already said, there's a lot of, development in the past, in the future that has go through zoning. Zoning to me is one of the very, very important for economic development. And I'm really confident that Edna would do very well. She learned very, very fast, and she is very, very quick and very efficient. Like I say, she works for our company. I work with her on a daily basis. And when I ask for a report, which is actually not that simple, she would turn around and give it to me, in hours, not the next day, not next week. And that's why I'm so impressed with how she's very resourceful and very smart in how she approach. And a lot of work is new to her, actually, at that young age, you can imagine. So I'm very confident that she would be an excellent member at the zoning board to contribute to the board's mission. So really ask for your consideration, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to speak this morning to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chan, for your comments this morning.
Yeah, sorry, my name is Jerry Tan from Tan Holdings, for the record.
Thank you, and I appreciate the mentioning of the age. I believe that's the millennial generation, and I hope you're listening, Jerry, that, even though we're a little bit much more older, that's why they sell vitamins on the market to energize us as well. So thank you for that. Anybody else? We're still open for comments. Okay, we are officially closing the public comments on the agenda this morning. So moving forward on item number 4, I would like to call up the nominee, Ms. Edna Grace Rios Nisola. And before we open the floor for any Q&A, it's normally the procedure of this committee that we administer the oath for any nominee appearing before this committee. If there's no objection to the members, I would like for the oath to be administered to Ms. Edna. Any objections, members? No objection. Thank you. Clerk, will you please administer the oath? Will you please raise your right hand?
Ms. Edna Grace Rios Nisola, you do solemnly swear, under the penalty of perjury, that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Edna Nisola. You may have a seat. Now it begins our Q&A with the nominee for this morning. Members, you can raise your hand, please, and I'll identify you. Representative Jean Paul Sablan.
Madam Chair, if I may suggest that perhaps if Ms. Nisola has
Okay, that's right, your public
before we go
segment,
to
please.
Q&A.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Hello? Thank you so much. I'm just going to read off of what I wrote. So, Hapade, Zantarolami, honorable members of the Saipan and Northern Islands Legislative Delegation, to JGO Chairwoman Edith De Leon Guerrero, and for all of the members present here today, thank you for having me. I am here before you in humility and gratitude for being given the opportunity to serve as a board member of the Commonwealth Zoning Board. My name is Edna Grace Rios Nisola, a proud resident of the island of Saipan, born and raised. I'm a proud PSS raised student supported by the Shefa and Sinamay scholarship offices throughout my pursuit of higher education. In 3 years, I graduated summa cum laude in 2019 from Grand Canyon University with a Bachelor of Science in Marketing and a minor in Finance and Economics. I came back home right after I graduated, for I always knew I wanted to come back and give back to the island and the community that raised me. I am blessed to have been raised by loving, God-fearing, and hardworking immigrant parents from the Philippines. They exemplified to me what it means to be a servant leader, which I strive to emulate every day in my position as a Public Relations Officer of the TAM Holdings Corporation. As a Public Relations Officer, I spend most of my time supporting the work of the Governor's Council of Economic Advisors under the leadership of Governor Torres and Chairman Jerry Tan. I lead the Public-Private Partnership Program, one of the JGO's top initiatives created to foster partnerships throughout the community to transform and sustainably maintain the Marianas tourism and village facilities. I am proud to share that as of today, we now have 69 awesome partners over 72 sites in Saipan, Tinian, and Rhoda. I also manage the various outreach campaigns of the council in the effort to get residents engaged in their communities and to rally support behind the initiatives of the council, all done with the mission to improve the quality of life of our people and transform our islands into a world-class destination. Our ongoing campaign now, as you may have heard, is called the Marianas Village Pride Campaign, aimed at instilling pride within our community to make our villages better places to live. Through this position, I have fostered valuable partnerships in the government, public and private organizations, community groups, which continues to drive my passion to serve as I experience firsthand the struggles, hurdles, but also the victories towards the effort to improve our home. I was also a former business development officer where I provided marketing and project management support to key business units and spent significant amount of time conducting market research and formulating strategies for new and existing business ventures. Here, I began to get a grasp of our economic position and how internal and external factors can affect the trajectory of our growth. I found how complicated internal regulations and stringent barriers to operate can affect the market. Though these factors can be controlled, they are still put on businesses and investors and have proven to impact the economy at large. At 23 years old, I have only a few years of experience in this field. Though I am young, I have in me the vision, the drive, and the passion to build this island up to its fullest potential. I am a constant learner, a capable leader, and as my boss puts it, I have the tenacity to get things done. I'm honest about what I need to learn and put in the work to find out just what I need to make a sound and informed decision, just as I do in my positions today. I care about the future of this island enough that I am willing to put in the work now because I still want to be around to see this place flourish and thrive. And I know it may sound idealistic and quite visionary, but it starts with that. And then it's deciding to go through the hard and tedious work to make it happen. In full transparency, when I was first asked if I would accept the nomination by my boss and mentor, Alex Sablan, I was afraid I was too young to be of service to any board. But he saw potential in me that I did not see yet. And I am grateful to everyone here and those who have sent in their support because they see it in me too. All I know is that I love my home and I see its potential to become a world-class destination and have an economy that is a blessing and has the capacity to improve the lives of the people that call this place home too. Just as I had people believing in me before I can even see it, this island deserves leaders behind it that sees its potential too and is willing to put in the work to make it happen. I humbly ask to be appointed in this board to be able to serve our island in another capacity and create greater impact that will outlast my tenure. I ask for an opportunity to be a part of the decisions to create the foundation that will set up our people, our island, our economy for a brighter future. I thank you for your time, thoughtful consideration, and your honorable decision this morning.
Thank you so much, Ms. Edna, and you may email us your comment. So now let's open the Q&A for the nominee this morning. I recognize Representative Vicente Camacho.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Edna. I am really impressed with your work experience. Now, I have a question now. I was reading this, and I just want to kind of clarify something. Who do you work for, TAN Holdings or GCE?
I work for TAN Holdings, but through my work, I support Chairman Jerry Tan. He's my boss. So he's the chairman of the GCEA, so I support that work too.
Who's the chairman for the GCE?
Jerry Tan
Oh.
and Governor Torres.
I thought that was a government entity. Yeah, anyway, very impressive nonetheless.
Thank you.
So, wow, this is kind of confusing a little bit because I thought TAN Holdings and GCEA were separate entities, one private and one public. But anyway, we'll get to that. Well, congratulations on your nomination. I see that there's a collection of young people out there. Very nice. So are we gonna confine all the young people in one area? We gotta spread them out, right? So yeah, that's kind of like, I just wanted to clarify who's working for whom and why
GCEA, Trend Holdings. I can't seem to connect that right now, but that'll be fine. We'll figure that out later. You also mentioned here 60 partners. Who do they fall under, GCEA or Trend Holdings?
They fall under GCEA's Public-Private Partnership Program.
Explain to me this public-private partnership program.
So this was an initiative that was put forward by Chairman Jerry Tan through his capacity in the Governor's Council of Economic Advisors. So this is where we've gathered support from our community groups, public and private organizations, and even the government to come together to renew and renovate the sites that we have here in the Marianas. So we've started with tourist sites, and then we've gone and spread out to transform village facilities as well. So that includes Saipan, Tinian, and Rhoda.
So out of the 60 partners, can you give me 3 prominent names?
Prominent names.
Cinema, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got Tan Holdings is one of the biggest partners for this. We've also got MBA that is rallying behind all of our partners. We've got Bridge Capital that is also involved. We've got Eland Group. We've got our Saipan Lions Clubs. So we've got even religious groups like Life in the Sun Christian Church are also involved. We've got the Saipan Mayor's Office, and Rhoda and Tinian Mayor's Offices also on board with this program.
Okay. Fair enough. All right.
Sorry, more than 3. There's a lot of them.
Thank you, Representative Camacho. Any other member? Recognize Representative John Paul Sablan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Edna. I just want to also thank the governor and lieutenant governor for nominating you. But more so, I want to thank you and congratulate you for accepting such a nomination. I know that we have worked together also with the minority group, with the public and private partnership with GCAA. And I have no doubt, Edna, that you will be a great asset to the zoning board. But I have no questions for you. I just have an advice for you. If confirmed to this zoning board, I ask that you don't be an enforcer or a regulatory. I ask you that you look at the zoning law, look at what improvements we can improve in the law to be more business friendly out there in our community. That's all I have to advise you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Jean Paul Sablan. Any other member? Recognize Representative Lee-Con.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Ms. Zola.
Good morning.
I'm very impressed with your resume. I wish I had such resume like this. This is a very extensive resume. And I sit here and I heard your statement, and that should be part of this resume as well. You use words that I highly looked up to, and when you say strategize, tenacity for doing completion of work. That's what we're looking at for a zoning board. What really impressed me the most is you could have stayed back in the US and find a better job, but you took it upon yourself to come home, which you call home. And I'm proud that you call Saipan your home and the cinema. And your love and passion for the people of the cinema, regardless of ethnicity. That is what we're looking for. And I hope others that are listening will come home and be as passionate to give back to the community, because that's what we need. We need young minds to come back and take helm, so us old timers can go to the greener pasture and weigh out ourselves there. But we need young minds to come in. I'm glad. I ask you, and I hope that you take this on your, when you guys the board reorganize, because it bothers me when members of the board resign. I wonder why. I don't understand why they would resign. I know that we passed a couple of years, I guess, the blighted law. There's a regulation already in place. And I hope that the executive director would share who they're gonna hire. Think that we should start the enforcement process right now. Been waiting for a compliance officer. This has to happen because it's useless to open up the island and we still see a lot of this building dilapidated. Nothing's been done. Nobody is enforcing it, and I know that this law was handed over to zoning to enforce. And I hope that you take initiative, because when you say the tenacity to get a job done, this is one task that I ask you to do. Get this done, because we need to go out there and start enforcing it, because we can't see this blighted building. It's an infestation for rodents. We gotta clean up. We can't show to our tourists when we do open that we are safe. Yes, we're safe, but are we clean? That's the factor there. We have to be healthy. If we're talking about healthy environment, then let's get this thing moving. That's one. And as my colleague mentioned, digest that zoning regulation. That's your Bible. Digest it, and if it needs improvement, reach out to the House of Representatives and the Senate to make changes. If there's changes need to be done, so be it. Last but not least, I highly recommend that you guys, the zoning board, finds someone to hire that has the background as in the architectural engineering aspect, because they need to be reviewing those plans. I don't think zoning has someone with that background. And they need somebody in there, because when you're having all this business and investors come in and they're sitting there with their engineers and architect and they're shaking their head that I don't think they understand our blueprint. You need somebody that can be giving the advice to the board, whether to approve or not, because those are very vital for any investors that come in. And we have to be last friendly investors in the business aspect, because we're still seeing that we're not doing that. And it's been echoed in the Governor's Economic Council Advisory Board that we need to be friendly to our investors. We should not drag our feet to approve any license. With that, you have my support. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Lepon. Recognize Representative BJ Atto.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning to everybody in the gallery. Ms. Nisola, good morning. First and foremost, I want to thank you for accepting this challenge. I'm not even going to go with the young age, because I'm a firm believer that you're the determining factor of what your experiences are. And obviously you've grown up with immigrant parents that brought candidacy to better their lives and give opportunities to you. I believe you've taken those opportunities that were presented to you and made the best out of it. You got your education, you came back home, and it's like Representative Lepon said, we're very happy that you call this place home. There's a lot of our students that go to greener pastures, obviously, for job opportunities, and I'm also very glad that TAN Holdings have given you the opportunity to work for them. It's a very good company. I started over there also at the age of 23 a few years back. And so with that, just simple advice to you: come in with your open mind, the way you approached your life to get your education, you went openly with your own decisions to further education in these specific fields that you chose to be your majors and during school and all the courses that you took back then. Just read that regulation, read the law that created the zoning office in the third senatorial district, and as much as possible, be as open as a servant leader that you mentioned, be as open-minded in reviewing applications to the zoning board. And I know it's not nice to say because a lot of the stuff comes to the political side of stuff, and they would come and bypass the zoning office, come to the legislature to make amendments to the zoning law. I would hope that you stand strong, whether it's political influence from up here or not, and state your position as a young individual that's actually going to be the blueprint to the future. I believe you're the youngest member of the board, should you be confirmed today. And I look forward to working with you, working with the director, Ms. Geraldine De La Cruz, and the other board members. And please, let's keep an open mind and stay strong. Be a true servant leader to the position that you are going to be serving for your confirmation, and do not be pushed by the political influences that may be coming from up here. So that's all my advice to you. And I know it's kind of contradictory saying that from this side of the table, but it's true. A lot of businesses bypass the zoning office and come directly up here to have laws amended to consider themselves business friendly, but be very, very cognizant of what business friendly really means. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and congratulations. Thank you for accepting the nomination.
Thank you, Representative Atto. Any other member who would like to ask a question? Recognize Representative Denita Yankamai.
Thank you, Senator Chair. Congratulations for accepting the nomination. And at last we met. I know you've been calling me to get the paints and all those. Yes, I too am very impressed with your resume and with all the public comments that were made. It shows that you are loved. So, so that's it. I just want to congratulate you for accepting it. And yes, take their advice because they're wiser.
Thank you, Representative Yankamai. Any other member? Recognize Representative Karina Magofia. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Ms. Edna. I would like to congratulate you on your nominee and for accepting the challenge. I would like to also recognize your accomplishments at such a young age. That is very impressive. And thank you for your aspiration, your optimism, and your commitment in helping our CNMI be a better place. I do have a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind. And in reading your resume, I do see that you have been employed with the 10 Holdings for a little bit over a couple of years now. And I would like to know if you foresee any conflict of interest as an employee of the 10 Holdings and being nominated to be a board member at the zoning. And also, if you could share with us, please, how you can ensure the people of the CNMI that your position at 10 Holdings will not conflict your judgment and your decisions as a board member if confirmed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rep. Though I do foresee there may be conflicts of interest, but I do not have the pride to not be able to say that there will be conflicts of interest. I will be able to step away from any voting that would occur and affect the decision. And I am able to be very level-headed, and I know where things may get gray, right? And so before it even gets to that point, I promise that I will be able to step away and have our other board members handle this. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Magofnia. Any other follow-up questions from any members? If you have any, go ahead and raise your hand. So I normally do a full circle and I'll be the last person to ask some questions. Ms. Edna, thank you very much. You presented yourself very well, very impressive resume. And yeah, you have a lot of letter of support for your nomination to the zoning board. You come in here with high energy, and I was actually very excited. It's been a while since I hear that high-pitched voice. High energy, millennial generation. You're the youngest to be, if confirmed by the SNILD delegation, to be sitting on the zoning board. A very critical body for the government. And I did some takeaway on your statement: God-fearing, tenacity to get things done. I love my home, a world-class destination. I'm happy to hear those statements this morning because this is our home. All of us live in the Commonwealth, specifically here on the island of Saipan that you will be sitting on for the zoning board. And we need people like that. They know the love for the island, the cleanliness of the island, and to ensure that the regulations are followed. And you mentioned you want to, you can step away if there's any conflict. And I'm glad that you made that public statement, and I look forward that you maintain that, and you remain level-headed, and you pursue the interests of the people, interests of the public, interests of the Commonwealth. So before I ask my questions, I would like to direct your attention to the PowerPoint. I'm going to show you some pictures because you had shared some high-power companies, corporations that are members of the Governor's Economic Council. And if I may say, in our vernacular, Tibali o nagagasgas isang mena and nagagasgas ako mo. What I'm saying is, if you're just going to clean and make the front side of the island, attractive and well maintained, but if you're not cleaning inside further deeper into your villages, which is your house, it doesn't make sense. It's just no good, right? So this is why I want to direct your attention. If you could see the picture, can we dim the lights, please? This is a picture in Chalankanoa. And we all know many years ago, I grew up in the village. It's a very clean village, actually. I'm very proud of it. But in today's situation, we do have a lot of, businesses within the village itself. And maybe there's we could say that perhaps maybe before the zoning law became effective here in the Commonwealth, that many of these establishments were grandfathered, perhaps, I'm just saying. But it doesn't mean that existing regulations on the books cannot be modified, cannot be amended, cannot be looked at. And I'm showing you this because we talk about making it a better community, making regulations good for the business friendly, but additionally, we also want to be mindful that we need to strike a balance with the need of the community within our islands, in our villages, that when they have establishments that are neighboring, that they are also considered with respect to zoning. So as you can see, this is I believe, an apartment complex within the village. And obviously the tenants perhaps are parking on public road. Exactly. And these are the areas of concern that are coming into my office, expressed by the community. What does zoning plan to do with this? So I hope you look into that and offer some remedies, offer some recommendations for change, and also to assist the business people too of how maybe, looking at your background, you got your Bachelor of Science in Marketing, minor in Finance and Economics, right? But I'm sure there's other people that are sitting on the zoning board currently that also have other talent that could look at these issues and make recommendations to the zoning board of how can we strike a balance between the community and also the business people. Next picture, please. Similar situation. These are all, little roads within the villages of Chalankanoa. There could be little roads in the villages of San Roque, San Antonio. You drive around, you grew up here, you know what I'm talking about. And these are you live in that street?
I lived in CK for after Sodalore up until just last year, so I know exactly what you mean. I've had to live with this. Sometimes we've had to park on the side of the road too. In all honesty, and it really is a nuisance because when there's trucks turning in, it's so tight and it's just awful, especially during the All Souls Day. I lived across the cemetery, and so they would park all along those streets, and only like a person would be able to fit through it. So
Let me
yes.
share with you, because I grew up from Chalankanoa as well. Many, many years ago, when I was still a young kid running around in the villages of Chalankanoa, there was a plan to develop the Chalankanoa village many years ago. What I'm saying today is we should just not focus on the Garapan Core District, where the major site of tourism takes place. That we need to look at it holistically as an island, what would benefit our community as well. That we don't neglect the potential of the other areas of Saipan, because obviously Garapan is saturated. It's so concentrated. You know, I pray to God we don't turn into like Tumon, one where you have skyscrapers of concrete buildings all over the place. And this is the reason why it is very important for zoning also to engage with other cognizant agencies within the CNMI government, such as DPW, BECQ, CRM, collaboration on the board level, and even down to the level of management and staff. That is very important in order for us to achieve the goal that we are trying to achieve, to make it a better place for everyone and for all of us that call it home and we love it. And those are the only two pictures I have, that I would like to bring to your attention. And I hope that if you are confirmed that these are one of the priorities as you step into the zoning board to provide them the assistance. Let's move forward on some of my concerns that I did receive from other business people. My question to you is, have you ever had the chance, considering that you are engaged with major corporations under the Governor's Economic Council and you had named some major players within the community, have you ever had the time to sit down on your own time to review the zoning law and the current existing regulations?
Yes.
Okay, can you give us a summary of what is your opinion, just on your quick reading or sometime reading of the regulations?
Yeah, just from reading through it, honestly, I have not been able to finish it, but just going through the current regulations, I see that there are a lot of very great ideas, very great rules to follow, but unfortunately, the law and its application is not always matching, right? Just particularly in the areas of signages. It says there that light up moving images are not allowed, but sometimes there is, right? So we've seen them in Actini, I'm sorry to name, but also here in Garapan, we've seen signages like that. But so there's just some disconnect with other companies. I do not know the entire background of how that was approved and how other companies that apply for it will not be. So that's just a comment from me.
Thank you for your observation, and that's very key. And earlier, there's words that were tossed out, conflict of interest, and you mentioning you can be level-headed, you can step away from any conflicts. And that could be the gray area when permitting takes place. And we can no longer buy the excuse of relationships. Yes, we can be business friendly, but we cannot sacrifice other businesses just for the advantage of another. In other words, what I'm talking about is fairness, equality, because all businesses pay taxes and they shall be treated fairly. So I'm going to bring to your attention some of the concerns from business people that have communicated with my office. For example, when they're renewing their business license, that they also go get a zoning compliance. I believe it's like $10. 30 now?
30.
I saw you whisper that quietly. Okay, so not focusing on the fee, but that could be an issue too moving forward. I hope that you look into that process, because businesses are expressing concern that many times when they're renewing their businesses, they have not really made any major change to their business operation. Yet they're still required to go through the process, and I'm not sure. I know I saw a communication that zoning is relocating to other buildings here in Capitol Hill. And I'm not sure they're still down in Dandan, but the inconveniences also for business people to go up and down the stairway or maybe on the elevator, standing outside. We have technology, and I read your resume. You have advanced technical and creative skills, right? In graphic design, web design, content creation, and so forth. I hope that if you get confirmed for the zoning, but to use these skills to transfer down to the management of zoning so that we can utilize technology to make it much more simpler for business people to get online and process their application for renewal, including business licensing. And this is why it's important to have that collaboration, the networking of other involved agencies and departments within the government to make it much more easier for businesses to process through, rather than to be frustrated, to be told to come back later. And even when they send emails, maybe those emails are not being responded to as an acknowledgement of receipt. Business communication is very important. Building this kind of relationships is very important. We can no longer be in operation as a government system to say that we'll get back to you later on. Well, if you do, then you better get back to that business person, send an email or pick up the telephone and make that call. What I'm saying is capacity building. I hope that the Board of Zoning also brings to the level of, encouraging capacity building within the management of zoning so that we upgrade the skills of our government employees as well to come to those standards of the business expectations, because you mentioned major key players in the industry, but even those small operators, the small entrepreneurs, they also require the same standards of service. The other concern that comes in is zoning areas. Again, I mentioned the word grandfathering of certain establishments, maybe operations, but there are concerns of, industrial businesses within the villages of Saipan. And I hope that you look into that also in the regulations, and where can we strike that balance between either having these particular businesses move out of the villages and be situated in an industrial zone, and how can we work with the other departments like DPL, if there's any public land available or any more spaces available to have those businesses move into. What is your take on that?
I totally agree. If I could also just share, because all of you have mentioned very great points where I believe if I am confirmed into this board will be priority areas for me to accomplish. So if I could just mention it, because I believe it would also answer your concerns. And so in regards first to blighted properties, right? As we say, what's good for tourists is what is good for our resident, right? This could not be any truer when dealing with the proliferation of blighted properties around the island. Given the opportunity, I would like to see the regulation that requires all property owners that hold blighted properties to be held accountable to secure and maintain these abandoned and vacant buildings be fully enacted and compliance measures enforced. Our island has a massive potential to be a truly competitive destination. We truly have a priceless nature that no development can ever replace, but it is littered by blighted buildings that breed hazard and crime against our residents and visitors, lessen the values of the properties nearby, taint the development around it, and bring down the level of our destination against other competing island destinations. It is unfortunate that as we push for new development, here lies many blighted buildings right in our tourism core. It would be an awful waste of money to revitalize Garapan and this island without tackling the blighted properties around it. Given the opportunity, I hope to work with zoning to tap its capacity to regulate and hold the owners of these properties responsible to restore and remove these public nuisances. And in regards to permitting, as the very first agency in this permitting process, the zoning office has this unique opportunity to ease the process right where it starts. In support of the recommendations and in my work with the GCA to streamline the permitting process, I hope as a board member to contribute in building up a truly effective interagency collaborative process, one that eliminates duplication, unnecessary fees, delays, and hurdles that would overall improve the entrepreneur and investor experience, most especially for our legacy companies that has been faithfully investing into the growth and development of the Marianas. And in regards to supporting small businesses and welcoming new investors, it is my goal that this office serve as a supporter of small businesses and welcome its new investors. This board has a valuable position in allowing for local entrepreneurs and new investors to operate a business on the island, and there's a great opportunity to resolve the long-standing ailment of this complicated and costly process. Speaking on behalf of my colleagues with their own small businesses, each year they find it a pain to go through the renewal process, but even more so as they recall how difficult it was to start the process as a new applicant. So imagine the frustrations of resident entrepreneurs having to go through this process and sometimes getting stuck from moving forward with their business plans because of it. How much more difficult would it be to navigate through this as a foreign investor? There are new fees that are added and massive inconveniences that takes time and resources away from their operations. This current condition unfortunately shows an insensitivity to the economic climate, especially for our small businesses. I hope that in my capacity as a board member, we can review this current process and resolve how the zoning board can be an ally to business owners rather than be a barrier to their entry and growth. I hope that with this office to build it up to operate in a way that welcomes investors, become a key office in taking the steps towards establishing the Marianas as a competitive, but most importantly, as a sustainable destination. This board is a necessary part in the effort to determine projects that would be beneficial to our people, our economy, our natural resources, and our investments towards our greater growth, which will eventually lead in the effort to diversify our economy. But without the move to ease the beginning of the permitting process, it would be difficult to get past this point, beyond trying to attract investors or even keeping our entrepreneurs from operating. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Edna. That was so beautiful. My other points here is if you look on your statement of financial interest, I noticed that you mentioned board members in my zoning board. Are you currently a board member or are you being nominated to become a board member?
Nominee?
Okay, I just thought I'd call it out.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
okay.
was from the OPA.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So that kind of like caught my attention that I understand you're being nominated to the board, but not a current sitting board. Okay, I just thought I had that from clarification. Okay, and my last point with you this morning, we talked about major players fronting the island of Saipan and having those, being the major players of the economy, right? But one of the things that I am very passionate about too is to spread the wealth across the island. And when we talk about zoning, this is the reason why I take you into the village, because you're from Chalon-Canoa. I grew up in the same village many years ago. It's nice to see the village taken care of too, because why? We are not just increasing the value of Garapan or all the properties along Beach Road properties, right? But we also want to increase the value of landowners within our villages as well. And that's the reason why I want to strike the balance of economic growth and wealth throughout the entire Commonwealth. That the ordinary citizens also get to benefit from what we are trying to do as a system to make it better, to become a world-class destination, so that everybody can be, achieving the financial goals for their own families as well. I hope you look at that and you take it to heart and you apply your knowledge and skills and fairness for everybody. I don't have any other questions for you. I'm happy to meet you this morning in person. I see Representative Vicente Camacho. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair. Very quick question. Do you think the cinema has a monopoly issue?
Monopoly in regards to what industry? To tourism? In any industry? I do not think so. I believe we have competitors here on the island for all of the industries that are major for our economy. So in regards to hotels, right, restaurants, there is competition here available. So I hope that answered that.
Thank you. You, Chair.
Thank you, Representative Camacho. Any other members? Recognize Representative Karina Magofia.
Hello. So I see on your resume that you also have a minor in economics and finance, which is absolutely a positive thing to have. My question to you is, based on your review of the zoning regs thus far, do you see any areas on the regulations where improvements can be made? And more importantly, areas in where revenues can be generated?
I'm sorry, Rep, I have not gotten through that, and I have not really thought about generating revenues this far. So, my apologies.
Thank you, Representative Magofnia. Recognize Representative BJ Atwell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And maybe not a question, but more of an advice to Ms. Nisola. Now that you're in this process or potentially can be confirming your nomination, I think that one thing you should work with the administrator of zoning office and the other board members and look at the enabling statute of zoning in its entirety. Break it down and give the board some flexibility. Because our problem here in the state of Maryland, when it first started, it made a whole lot of sense in creating everything by statute so that we can grow our commonwealth. In this day and age, we need flexibility for these regulatory agencies to be able to provide opportunities for businesses or private citizens to grow themselves economically, right? So I think that's one thing I would ask of you and the board members, along with the administrator and the staff of zoning, is to look at the enabling statute and see how we can clean that up, and that will actually marry the regulations so that there's more flexibility in changing regulations and changing statutes, and hence bypassing the zoning board, zoning office, so that they can come up to the legislature and ask to change laws without the zoning board's implementation on the legislation itself. So I think that's something that maybe you should consider looking at, sitting on with the administrator and the staff. But I think that's very important. That law is about 25 years old now. It's probably been amended 10,000 times. I think maybe that's something that the board should look at with the administrator so that we can fix it. So there's more flexibility to work, so that the board can actually do its work properly rather than being a board being bypassed so that businesses can take advantage of the political side of stuff. So thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you again, Ms. Nisola.
Any other questions from the members? No questions? Short recess, please. Thank you. Vivian Marta walked in from her short recess. We are now down to item number 5 on the agenda under discussions. Members? Recognize Representative John Paul Sablan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And after a lot of questions and answers between the members and Ms. Nisola, I'd like to make a motion now that your committee formulates a committee report to the full body of the delegation, recommending the confirmation of Ms. Edna Grace Rios Nisola to the zoning board. So moved.
It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Nays? Motion carried. The committee report will be prepared by the legal counsel, hopefully within this week, so that we could submit it to the entire delegation for confirmation of Ms. Edna. Thank you very much. You are excused. Thank you. Okay, members, under item number 6 on the agenda, the announcement, we do have other zoning nominees that are coming in. So I will be calling a session for that. I believe there's a name already submitted by the governor's office, and then I believe there's another name coming in. So as soon as those names are received and all the required documentations, we will be organizing for a meeting of this committee so that we can move forward with the nominees. Any other announcements? I do not have at this moment, so may I hear a motion for item number 7 for the adjournment of this meeting? Second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. This meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.